South Africa has voted in parliament to take land from white farmers. Now, this move is something that's being called foul by a lot of the white supremacist terrorists. They feel this is wrong. They're crying a lot of tears about this. But we're going to put out the education of why they're only righting a colonial wrong by making this move. But let's play a clip of Julius Malema of the EFF explaining why this move has to happen.
And the leadership of the EFF, this is a motion that seeks to unite black people in South Africa. And ordinarily, if leadership was provided, we shouldn't be having this debate, because the land should have been returned into the hands of the rightful owners. We all know that the Dutch gangsters arrived here and took our land by force. And the struggle has since been about the return of the land into the hands of rightful owners. Yet those who went to negotiate on behalf of our people during the negotiations sold out this fundamental principle which constituted the struggle against colonialism. So those who claim to be radical enough and who want radical change today should actually be in the forefront of agreeing that this constitution must be changed to make it possible for our people to own the land. It can't be correct that the less than 10% of the population owns almost more than 75% of the land. And those people who own the land happen to be, in an acceptable language, private people like individuals, trusts, and companies. But when you search deep as to who are these people, these are white people who are still owning our land. We remain a conquered nation, even when we claim to have democracy. We remain a conquered nation because white monopoly capital still owns the means of production, and at the center of that is the land question. The dominance of white people, it cannot go away, particularly white supremacy, for as long as land is not returned into the hands of the people. We are the only country where we say revolution has taken place, yet those who were oppressing us have not lost anything after the revolution. We remain as we were even before 1994. So we are saying that black people, all of us, we need to unite and amend the constitution so that we can expropriate land without compensation. There is no white person who will understand that clarion call, because they don't know the pain of being landless. Only those who have gone through a passage of being landless will appreciate where we come from on the issue of the land. The issue of the land cannot be a campaigning issue. The issue of the land cannot be a rhetorical question. The issue of the land should be an issue of commitment. Honorable members, we have taken an oath here. And when we take an oath, we are simply saying we are loyal to the land. But how can we be loyal to the land which is in the hands of private individuals? We must be loyal to the land that belongs to us. Majority of our people say South Africa belongs to them, yet they do not have proof to show that indeed South Africa belongs to them, because many of them do not even know how a title deed looks like. Many generations died without even knowing how a title deed looks like. It is only through the expropriation of land without compensation that our people will be the rightful owners of this country. We cannot keep on saying South Africa belongs to all who live in it, yet we have nothing to show. Today the ANC should come with the EFF. There is 6% available. We give it to you without no condition to amend the constitution and take the land. If you don't agree with us today, it means you are disagreeing with Honorable Ayanda Dlodlo. If we don't agree with us today, it means you don't agree with your outgoing president on the issue of expropriation of land without compensation, even the minister of land. This is a matter that can unite black people. This is a matter that all of us should stand together and isolate white monopoly capital. This is a matter that can say to us, this is a genuine call which we as black people can identify with. So the ANC, 6% shiona, relefayona, arjen lefase, relimeng, arjen lefase rage di feme, arjen lefase refe batho ba rena ba bele magae, ba bele a place to call home. Honorable Nzimande, we have already started taking the land. If you vote against this, it's a waste of time. We are already giving our people the land, and we are not ashamed of that. People of South Africa, where you see a beautiful land, take it, it belongs to you.
Now, to all the white nationalists and the alt-right that's crying and complaining about the land, why haven't you discussed the Berlin Conference? See, you're not going to bring that up. And I want to educate you on the Berlin Conference because it's only righting a colonial wrong. So in 1884, there was the Berlin Conference. Not an African person was at the Berlin Conference. This conference was about European nations coming together to sit down and divide Africa for themselves. They didn't ask, they didn't say, can we buy the land? Can we partner with you African people? No, the discussion was how we're going to take the land by force from the African people. So the countries that were involved with this was Portugal, the United Kingdom or the British, France, Germany, Italy, Belgium, and many other people who was thoroughly involved with this. Now, United States were invited in, but they want nothing to do with that. I mean, why should they colonize when they had us? I mean, they got all the labor off of us, got all the money off of us, and we still were here, even though some slaves who were freed went to Liberia, but they didn't send us all back, and which they could have because we had no rights, but we all know why we really wasn't sent back. Divided land in the continent of Africa. So let's put up what the continent looked like before the Berlin Conference. So as you can see, you had nations. A lot of the land still wasn't inhabited with actual countries, but this is what it looked like. Now, I've had a person tell me on Twitter today, well, some of the land was not inhabited, so that's why some of them took the land. It doesn't matter if it's not inhabited. It's a lot of parts of the United States isn't inhabited. Should that be up for grabs for China or whoever else just want to come in? I don't think they allow that to happen. So they saw all this, and all these were sovereign lands and sovereign countries for the people over there. Okay. Now, after the Berlin Conference and they decided to divide everything up, this is more so what it looked like after that. Now, you see Belgium was Congo, and you know anything about African history, you know about King Leopold, how he killed more Africans than Adolf Hitler killed the Jews. He killed about 10 million Africans. He is worse than Adolf Hitler could have ever been, but no one talks about King Leopold of Belgium. Research the chocolate hands that they sell to this day in Belgium. Do your research, brothers and sisters, on that. Now, as you can look at this, it was divided with the British, and we're going to talk about South Africa. So the Union of South Africa, did they ask the Africans about that land? They took it by force. So you have the white supremacist terrorists crying about land that they stole. They're crying about land that they killed people over. And now the rightful owners of that land say, wait a minute, hold on. We have less than 10% of the population controlling 70% of the land. and yet we're over 90% of the population. And even though supposedly apartheid is over, how is it that the majority population isn't benefiting? Everything they have there came from stealing and murdering. So how is it you want to come on this morality thing and say, oh, it's so wrong what they did, or it's not the right way? It wasn't the right way when you had the Berlin Conference. It wasn't the right way when you came in there and stole all this land from the African people, whether they had it inhabited or not. So don't come with that. You sat there and left your areas, your countries, to go down to African nations to carve it up for yourselves. And look, these people have a right to stand up for themselves. I love for them to do that. You have one argument, well, Robert Mugabe did the same thing, and look what happened in Zimbabwe. It became a hellhole. It became economically strapped. Let's tell the truth on that. The West put sanctions on Zimbabwe, and that's how it got that way. It wasn't because of the land. Same thing. Let's talk about Zimbabwe. If you look at it, Rhodesia on the map that we have here is modern day Zimbabwe. And Robert Mugabe had led the resistance against the white supremacist terrorists that was running Rhodesia. You remember Dylan Roof? He had the Rhodesia flag on his jacket because it was terrorizing black people over there. So that's how Robert Mugabe came into power at that time period. So, and that was controlled by the same group, the British. So when these people tell you this, brothers and sisters, just refer to history and say, no, 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 no. Y'all stole it from those people at the Belgian conference. They're only going back and getting what's theirs. They're taking their country back, right? This is what a lot of them like to say over here. Knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what they don't want you to have. This is why they don't like the internet. This is why they don't like when you are getting educated, because they're not banking on you knowing about the Berlin Conference or anything that's happened to your brothers and sisters. So to all of these white supremacist terrorists who are crying tears, let me tell you something, and I'm going to enjoy drinking them. Drinking your tears is so good right now on this issue. And if you would like to buy this mug, link will be in the pinned comment. But let's talk about this, because it's time for people on the continent to take advantage of their land, take advantage of their resources. You heard the president of Ghana telling the president of France, we don't want nothing from you no more. We'll do it ourselves. And that has to spread. See, what's happening in South Africa is Killmonger from Black Panther. Julius Malema is doing exactly what Killmonger would do for the most part. And that has to spread throughout the continent. It has to spread. Africa is the youngest population in the world. It's time for Africa to rise. The 400 years is almost up. For those of you who know about what I'm speaking about, the 400 years, it's time for us to start doing for ourselves. Some may say, well, if they kick out all the Caucasian farmers and they're going to get so bad, they're going to call the Caucasians to come help them. Let them sink or swim. At least it would be their choice to do so. And remember, they had a white supremacist propaganda video long ago. Let's play this little clip.
By using this mantra.
Africa for the Africans, Asia for the Asians.
So you know that video. They said Africa for Africans. So what's the problem? You guys put that out there. African for Africans. We didn't put that out there. And I actually agree with you. Africa for Africans. All the resources in African nations for Africans. They should control it. They should use it, and they should sell it as they want to sell it and benefit off of that wholesale. This is why I'm a believer that all of us within the diaspora, no matter where we at, we need to unify. If we don't have Africa, we have nothing. And that comes for us here in the United States. You already know our position. This is why I tell all of us, get you a passport. Get you a passport. You see what's going on in this nation. You need to have a passport. It don't cost that much to get a passport, brothers and sisters. Just go down to the post office, take your birth certificate, go down there, and they'll take your pictures. You can get your passport for less than $150. You can have it. It's not that hard to get one. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Share the video. And these brothers and sisters in South Africa, I support you wholesale. Most of us here who are your African-American brothers and sisters, we are behind you 2,000%.